belong to the First Order, and will remember this as the last day of the Republic.
Hey, how we doing, First Order? Okay, let's give Fox a round of applause, yeah? He'll make a great Meaningless Death 2 movies from now. Oh, whoops, spoilers. How about we get ourselves warmed up a little bit? Speaking of blowing up planets, why couldn't Luke find the power converters? He was looking at all the wrong places. Okay, we'll try something else. Someone in chat told me this the other day. Why was the bell pepper bad at archery? Because they didn't have an arrow. Boy, rough crowd today. All right, how about this one more? How does the First Order measure distance? Kilometers. Okay. All right, fired it up, I guess. All right, enough screwing around. We got to get to our order of business, and that first order of business is just that, the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron. We got gameplay, and I'm impressed, and we haven't even seen the full picture yet. So we just had our first week in 3v3 Grand Arena experiencing the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron, and this is only the beginning. From what I'm seeing some really impressive stuff, even to the point where it looks like we have a Starkiller counter in 3v3. Emperor Palpatine, Starkiller, and Mara Jade are kind of deadly. This might be a really good low-budget option to counter that. Me personally, I applied this on my free-to-play account, and I was able to do some nice things for my free-to-play. Again, getting a team that wasn't there before. And after what I'm about to show you today, I am very tempted to apply it on my Big Daddy main account that I have over here. We'll see. Maybe by the end of the video, I'll do it. Before we start rolling gameplay, let me just remind you real quick what the Omicron is. It's a Grand Arena Omicron, and not specific to 3v3 Grand Arena. Unlike the Tuscans, it can be used at any form of Grand Arena that can come in the future. The main caveat is you cannot use this Omicron with a Galactic Legend, aka you can't use this with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and allies are going to get 50% max health. Whenever an ally has advantage, which is going to be almost all the time, you're going to have 50% critical damage and plus 100 speed. At the start of a round, if an ally does not have advantage, they have 100% tenacity until they gain advantage, so it's going to be hard to apply debuffs on them. Whenever an ally loses advantage, we have 20% health and protection recovery, and this is going to spell out some possibly annoying teams that your opponent might have to deal with, which I'll show you later. And whenever First Order TIE Pilot gains bonus Terminator, they're automatically gaining advantage for one turn if they didn't already have it. And finally, whenever First Order TIE Pilot gains Foresight, all allies gain Foresight for 2 turns. The great thing about this Omicron, aside from Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, we have 2 other leaders that can grant advantage from the start, that being Captain Phasma as well as Hux. And knowing that, let's start rolling some gameplay so you can see it in action. So as I mentioned, I applied this on my free-to-play account that's focused on the First Order, and pretty much I have a useful Territory Wars team, I got a useful Grand Arena team, and we got a fantastic fleet, and we got one of the best Galactic Legends. The First Order is literally the full package. There's no dead weight anymore, and the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron makes it happen. I, for example, in my free-to-play Grand Arena, went up against, granted, a gear-loving General Anakin Skywalker, but we were able to take Phasma, some leftover pots or some good damage, and beat it. Normally, I wouldn't have a team that can handle that on my free-to-play. Phasma before the Omicron, it's not going to look that good. We didn't have the speed. We didn't have the extra damage. We didn't have the durability, the tons of force, and the health and protection recovery that we now have. That was one of the biggest weaknesses with the Phasma leftovers. There was almost no survivability. That goes along with it. Now we have that in our arsenal. But that's not even going to be the coolest stuff we're going to see today. Yes, I got used to my free-to-play. You guys are as well. It's going to be one of the best Omicrons for Grand Arena, and we didn't even dip into 5v5. But one of the things that we're seeing a lot in 3v3 for the first time, because it's the first 3v3 Grand Arena we've had in a while, we are seeing a lot of Starkiller lineups. And primarily, as we predicted, you're looking at the Emperor Palpatine, Mara Jade, and Starkiller combos, and those can be a little bit tricky. And I want to give a shout out to the rest of the footage here. It's not recorded by me, but there's a lot of people sharing footage out there showing the power of this Omicron. It's gonna help so many people understand and be fully invested and informed before they go into, for example, we have Exile here. going up against this team right here. One thing to note, Hux, he's a fast character. He's a decently fast character. He's going to open up with 100 speed, and if you can outrun them, you can do a brilliant mass swarm from the very get-go. But even if you can't outrun a Starkiller team, as we can see here, Mara Jade's going to open up, try to apply debuffs. But what did I emphasize before we started the footage? You're going to get advantage, whether through Phasma lead, or in this situation, Hux uses unique ability, Boundless Ambition. He grants advantage to the rest of the team at the very get-go. So Mara Jade can't apply debuffs straight from the very start. And what happens? She doesn't get another turn. Furthermore, you got extra tenacity. So even in the situations, once the foresight's gone, she tries to apply debuffs. It's going to be hard because she already weeded out her tenacity down, and now you got increased tenacity on your team. So as you can see, 2 battles that we have from some fantastic members of our community, showing them using this, going up against Starkiller, and all it really took was 1 Omicron, somewhat left over. Here's the thing, in 3v3, Hux isn't as necessary for Supreme Leader Calren as he might be in a 5v5 situation, so it's not really the end of the world if you want to take away Hux from your Supreme Leader Calren, whereas in 5v5, this might be a harder sell to push. For me personally, this is what's making me curious to see if I can utilize this Omicron on my main account. The reason why I didn't upgrade it is because I wasn't sure if I would get a lot of use out of it, but I'm seeing a lot of Palpatine, Mara Jade, and Starkillers lingering around out there. And so far, I had to throw Darth Revan in it. Starkiller mirror match. Some people throwing Galactic Legends. This right here looks a lot more appealing. Just bring Hux. And the great thing about Hux 2 that we haven't really discussed yet, yes, Boundless Ambition grants advantage to the rest of the team in that unique ability. But on top of that, what you're also getting is the leadership bonuses. We haven't even talked about that. First things first, if all allies are first order to start the battle, enemies can't gain bonus turn meter, while Hux has advantage. So let's just say, even if you didn't have the foresight from the first order TIE Pilot Omicron, you can still prevent Mara Jade's bonus turn meter and slow them down. So you have several ways to stop her: evading from foresight, resisting because of tenacity increases, or just Hux being able to prevent bonus turn meter because they have Boundless Ambition and advantage on them. But through the lead as well, our basics are doing more damage as a result. 50% more damage on top of the extra critical damage that the first order TIE Pilot is going to be granting through the Omicron. And when Hux has dominance, enemies can't counterattack. So Starkiller's not going to hit you back. First order allies are also going to get 100% counter chance and an extra 50% critical damage. So TIE Pilot, yes, we got the 50% critical damage, the 100 speed, of course, but we also have extra critical damage and counter chance when Hux has dominance. And the great thing is here, eventually Starkiller is going to come in, do an AoE of some sort. Mara Jade might do an AoE. You're just going to counter right into them with all that heavy critical damage and yeet them out of existence. I am loving what I'm seeing in that particular situation right there. That for me sells me that this is gonna be a very useful Omicron, not just for beginning players, as I showed you on my free-to-play account, but even endgame players are gonna get use out of it. At this point, there's literally no dead weight involved with this faction anymore. However, they could do some great stuff. Darth Revan, I'm not sure if they could take on a high relic General Anakin Skywalker. Might be interesting, might be potential, maybe Huxley up against General Anakin Skywalker, the Omicron. It could be possible. You're gonna get use out of it, no matter where you are right now. However, I would not put this team on defense. It seems to be easy Wampa food, seems to be easy Nest solo capabilities out there. Maybe they just weren't the right lineups. And what I want to do now is kind of transition into some suggested ways to utilize this. Now they kind of have an idea of what seems to work and what doesn't and what they can possibly do. And as you can see, they could do quite a lot. I'm loving it. So overall, for offense, I'm really liking this first lineup right here. Hux to prevent the counterattacks, Hux with the extra critical damage, Hux with the lead granting counterattacks and the extra critical damage, Hux also granting advantage through their unique ability so everyone gets the foresight, and you got a great balance of speed and especially damage. This is what I ended up using, and it's probably the best of the leftovers because, let's be honest, Sith Trooper and Hux, they're kind of important characters inside a galaxy of heroes, especially for 5v5 or even 3v3. This seems to get the job done as well. You have tons of turn meter with Phasma. You're starting off with the advantage, so instantly the Omicron's being triggered. And of course, you got assisting capabilities to call the TIE Pilot for the assist. Here's another idea right here. I'm not sure how I feel about this team on defense. It might ward off some things out there. We saw Nest Nest, Wampa. I'm sure Bad Batch can still get through this team. But one thing to note, Kylo Ren Unmasked gets lots of ways to recover health and protection, especially through his lead. 5% health and protection recovery anytime they're gaining a stat sec, whether positive or negative, and also unique ability, they're gaining 8% health anytime Kylo's taking damage. And the point I'm getting at is with this Omicron, as we stated, you're already getting a 50% max health increase, which is going to be huge for the tanks. But anytime you're losing advantage, they're recovering 20% health and protection. First order executioner, you already want to be modding for max health and offensive based things because total order allows them to stack up his max health anytime they score a critical hit. On top of that, first order executioner has extra offense equal to 5% of their max health. No matter what, there's gonna be some sort of combination to take advantage of the leftover first order and the advantage that they have on top of it. Man, the puns are horrible today. This Omicron marks a new era for the first order indeed, but not the end of the Republic, but the end of no more deadweight in the first order faction. You got a fantastic ship, fantastic territory Omicron, fantastic Grand Arena Omicron, and you got a Galactic Legend and a top 3 Galactic Legend with that in mind. So the question is now, am I going to apply the Omicron on my main account? And without a doubt in my mind, simply the Starkiller viability is great. The only reason why I haven't applied it yet is because I'm trying to hoard for Malgus, for Grand Inquisitor, and that's easily going to be 5 to 6 Omicrons we need hoarded up, but that's another month away, right? So why don't we go ahead and apply it now? Just don't tell my guild. They want me hoarding, but I'm having more fun of this right here. Why don't you go ahead, hit that like button, comment down below. How are you liking the TIE Pilot Omicron? Is this something on your radar? Would love to hear those thoughts. And while you're there, why don't you just go ahead and just remind me how it's great to be in the Empire today.